welcome to Adam and James's Sports Podcast. Today, we have a special guest, James.
We do. Please welcome to the show, Chris Rushton.
How are we doing, gentlemen?
And for those who are wondering, is one of the Northwest rising golfing stars. And you know what golf stands for, don't you, James?
Gay outdoor lifestyle with fellas.
I wasn't expecting that, but anyway.
It's a quote in between us.
Chris.
How are we doing, gentlemen?
You alright, pal? Okay, first of all, how is Kansas?
It's windy, it's warm, and it's kind of boring.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Chris is living in Kansas. He's from Preston, but he's got a scholarship out there, haven't you, Chris? Could you just explain that?
I have indeed, Adam, I have indeed.
Yeah, what's it all about?
It's basically going to school, get to play golf sometimes, well, quite a lot of the time, play tournaments, and hopefully turn pro at the end of it.
Lovely. So the aim is to become a golfing world champion?
Well, I'd like to hope so, yes, but we'll see how things go.
So what's American school like?
The easiest thing I've ever done.
Easiest? Why? What's the differences?
Well, put it this way, the hardest class at the college I'm doing, it's criminal law.
Criminal law?
And I've got 116% in the class.
Jeez, you got to believe you at college.
116?
Exactly, Adam. Right. Extra credit, left, right, and centre.
Any shooting scares yet?
No, because they're all basically Republican here. They just shoot animals, but
so you're in
everyone carries a gun pretty much.
You're in the deep south, aren't you?
No, I'm right in the middle.
Right,
I'm in the Bible Belt.
What's the culture like out there?
The culture is illegal Mexicans.
Illegal Mexicans. So basically they're doing all the sort of gardening and stuff like that.
Oh yes.
So what's the differences between Kansas and New York?
Oh, fuck it, everything.
Because you've been to
New York.
We went to New York together.
New York. Oh, we should have had a fight. But
yeah, well, we did score off at the top of the Rockefeller Center.
Very good image.
Anyway, quick one. Have you got any sort of story or highlight from New York which was your favourite?
Yes. Miss McDermott telling you to stop shouting Statue of Liberty and
Jesus, that was
it.
Basically,
that was hilarious.
Basically, we play a game that's similar to like bogeys, where we just have to shout something as loud as we could. Anyway, we were on a boat travelling to the Statue of Liberty, and the sort of New York tourists were absolutely livid when I kept screaming the Statue of Liberty as we were getting closer and closer. I had to stand with a teacher for the rest of the day. I was 18 years of age.
Truly was a great day.
So, Chris, it's a big time for you at the moment. You've got the Golf Masters coming up this weekend. Could you give us a bit of a breakdown?
I can indeed. Augusta will be probably, I'd suspect, firm fast. Greens will be silly quick. Obviously, you've got Tiger Woods coming into it. Odds-on favourite. Don't know how that's happened, but hopefully... Favourite? Is he? He's odds-on favourite. He's 8-1.
That's the odds-on then, Chris.
He's the lowest. He's the lowest odds.
Yeah, so he's favourite.
He's favourite then, yeah. I do apologise. I don't, for any of those listening, I don't really do betting.
Yeah, not a betting. Well, it's a tough habit.
It is indeed.
Adam can tell you all about that.
We have
anyway,
got.
So, what are the American women like out there, Chris? Have you charmed any of them into bed with your Preston accent?
I can confirm nor deny that statement.
Lovely. Chris has got a bit of action. Right, okay. Moving on, we had a massive fight at the weekend. Joshua versus Parker. Anthony Joshua unifying the heavyweight division. He's now the WBA, WBO and IBF champion of the world. What did you think of the fight, Adam, and then Chris?
It was an extremely uninspiring sort of a performance from both men, really. I thought Joshua, we saw a new side to him. We saw a heavyweight who can hide behind the jab, do some clean work early doors, and then Parker came into the fight. It was a bit of a snooze fest, really, but every credit to Joshua. He got the job done. Parker probably brought him down to his level. Yeah, that's all I've got to say, really.
What did you make of it, Chris?
I found the fight slightly boring. I think Joshua needs to get a fucking move on when he's walking to the ring instead of taking half an hour.
They've got the money's worth out of those fiery AJ size.
Oh, yeah, I know. They need to be someone needs to blow them up quickly.
On the bright
Where's Jihadi
side,
John when you need him?
Oh, absolutely. We could have done with him tonight.
That's racist.
That's great.
Anyway, so yeah, for me, I thought Joshua won the fight, definitely. I thought Parker showed glimpses of what he could do. The speed difference was vast. Parker a lot quicker. There was moments where it looked like Parker could have taken over, but it never really came to fruition. Joshua's jab was good. I felt the scorecards were wide.
Oh, vile.
I think it just brings the sport to, like, it just makes it look horrific when you've got a competitive fight. I thought Joshua ran around about 8 rounds to 4, and Parker's been given a round. So that's obviously extremely frustrating. I thought the referee was horrific. It was sort of echoing like Hatton versus Mayweather when Joe Cortez just wouldn't let the fight go. Every time Joe Parker got in close and tried to do some work to the body, he was pulled away. So that was quite frustrating. And also the Sky commentary was pretty abysmal. I thought Carl Froch, I've been saying he needs to be sat for a while. Very biased once again.
Yeah, pretty sure that Carl Froch would love to perform a fellatio on Anthony Joshua. It's getting ridiculous, quite frankly. However, yeah, the scorecards were abysmal. And people wonder why Wilder won't come over to this country to fight Joshua. It's quite simple. If it goes a distance, he will never get the result and therefore would lose his title. It's a joke, really.
Yeah,
so.
Joshua's correct in saying that he's bringing the big numbers over at 80,000. But the main reason I think he doesn't want to travel is because if he does, he's not got the judges in his back pocket. He's not got the commentary in the back pocket. You want to have the referee in his back pocket. So these are the main issues for Joshua. What did you watched Wilder versus Ortiz the other week, didn't you, Chris? What did you make of that fight?
I did indeed. I'm not really into me boxing, to be honest. I just watched the big fights, but I thought Wilder was true to his name, pretty wild. Yeah, obviously got the power in the bag. You wouldn't expect anything less from a heavyweight, but yeah, just what do you expect? Man through windmills.
Yeah. Another heavyweight who's cracking back onto the scene. Tyson Fury's looking in excellent shape. Me and Adam are both believers that when he's fully fit, his head movement, his awkwardness, his boxing ring craft and size will just be too much for any other heavyweight. Are you of the same opinion, Chris?
I well and truly am, my friend. I don't see another heavyweight on the planet that's as good as Tyson. I watched his Klitschko fight the other day when he won the belts in Dusseldorf, and truly superb to watch.
He really is. We bloody love Tyson. Anyway, yeah. Last piece of boxing coverage of the weekend. I am absolutely devastated, and I'm just sort of getting over it now. David Price took on the monumental ask of taking on Alexander Povetkin. And it was so close to being the fairy tale ending, wasn't it, Adam?
It sure was, and Price really started well, really. I thought Povetkin dropped him. However, I mean, Price showed his frustration, and he really looked to get a grip of the fight. And at the end of the third round, we saw Price rock Povetkin.
Yeah.
And Povetkin's a world-class fighter.
Yeah, Povetkin's well and truly a top 5, at least top 10 calibre opponent.
And for David Price to come back from really quite struggling mentally outside the ring and inside the ring, it was great seeing rock Povetkin, but that was a hefty knockout in the face.
Honestly, watching it, I was beginning to buy into the dream. I was sort of struggling to watch it in the first couple of rounds. I was really nervous of Price. If you've not seen him before, he's been taken out badly a couple of times. But it just felt this was it. This was going to be his fairy tale ending. He was going to do everything he was meant to have done early on in his career. But when that of course, after he put Povetkin down, it looked likely. But, of course, Povetkin hurt him and stunned him. And I thought, oh, Jesus, because Price was not defending himself, and I saw that left hook swinging in, and the writing was on the wall. We all knew Price was about to go flying. And that's the same. Don't criticise David Price's chin, because that's the same left hook that put Carlos Takam and Johan Duhaupas to sleep. So it really was a good shot from Povetkin. Really unlucky from David Price. He did himself proud, putting in a really good performance. And now the rumour is Dillian Whyte versus Povetkin. Would you like to see that fight?
Yes. However, it comes across to me a bit like Hearn's putting all potential tough opponents for Joshua onto Whyte first, and you can only get to Joshua after defeating Whyte. I just feel like it's a bit like that. But no, I thought Price was in really good shape. I wouldn't say no to watching the Povetkin against White fight.
Oh, mad key.
Yeah.
Povetkin probably goes in a very small favourite, but he isn't shot, but he's sliding down that hill. And Dillian White's coming into his ascendancy, so I think Dillian White is a very live underdog in that fight. Anyway, moving on to the cricket. Adam, Chris, you could have a lovely conversation about this. Adam, you can kick it off.
Yes, Chris, we talk halfway through the test match, really, which is a bit of a shame. However, England well in the ascendancy at the moment, 200 and odd for 3. A lead of about 230. How do you rate our chances, Chris? Do you fancy us to go on and win the test?
I do indeed. I just hope we don't get a draw out of it again, which will be slightly frustrating. But I thought that Bairstow and Wood stand was phenomenal.
It was great to watch, wasn't it?
Incredible to watch.
Just
what we've been missed.
Yeah, he's a classy batsman, Bairstow. And Wood came into the team more for his bowling, really, but he showed a bit of class when I bat, didn't he?
He did indeed. What did he end up? 120, 110, something like that?
And Bairstow just got over a ton. And
just over a ton.
Mark Wood got a half century. Yeah, so...
Yeah.
An excellent stand. And then Stuart Broad is back to his best, Chris, isn't he? It's great.
Yeah, saw the 5-wicket haul. Well, didn't see it, unfortunately, because I can't watch cricket over here. But I scrolled through it on Twitter and I was... There's nothing on TV, lad. It's either baseball or golf. So obviously golf gets the priority.
Every credit. Yeah, well, Stuart Broad's gone away. He's manipulated his wrist position from the winter, and he's come back extremely strong. He pitched it right up there, and as me and you know, Chris, when Stuart Broad pitches the ball up, he's unstoppable. He found the edge of Taylor, who was a quality batsman. And a wonderful catch by Alistair Cook, actually, Chris. What do you make of Alistair Cook?
I refrain to comment from that statement.
Why? This is a podcast, Chris. You can't refrain from commenting.
No, I've
this
stated
is R-rated, Chris. This isn't bloody PG.
I've stated my reasoning on Twitter for dropping him and sacking him from the England job. I don't think he deserves to be there. I think he's had one good knock in forever. I think you've got to give somebody else a chance.
Oh, Chris, come on. He's got 800 runs in the 2010-2011 Ashes. He captained England to Ashes wins away in Australia, in India, should I say, not Australia. Well, yeah, whatever, carry on. Over 10,000 test match runs, at the highest by any England cricketer. And just keep giving him a chance, because ultimately there's nobody else to come in, Chris.
Well, that's one opinion, yeah. The other one is he's a little bit past it.
Well, who do you bring in, Chris?
I don't know who I bring in at this point in time. I'd like to see Gary Balance given a chance.
Gary Balance?
Gary Balance, up at batting? You're out of your mind, Chris. You're taking the piss. Just a quick question, Chris, on the golf.
Go on.
Who's your pick of the week at Augusta? Give
Well,
each way punt for me.
Well, my heart's telling me Tiger Woods, my head's telling me Dustin Johnson. I've said Dustin Johnson.
Masters.
I've said Dustin Johnson every Masters.
I remember being in art with you in year 8, and
Jesus, we're throwing back here.
We're talking to the late Miss Holmes, and you were tipping DJ then. Remember that? Never mind now.
I know, I've always liked his game.
Who was your art teacher? Who did you have?
I went through a few. I had Holmes, Hewitt.
Hewitt was a big fan of Mr. Hewitt.
Yeah, really nice man. Yeah. Really nice man.
Mr. Hewitt, a big believer in sort of old methods of disciplining kids.
Yeah, back in mine.
Yeah, back of sort of rulers to the arm and, sort of back fist to the disobedient children. And it was the fear. It was the fear that stopped them messing around.
It was the fear factor.
You're a big fan of Hewitt.
Back in my day, we just got a pencil and we had to draw a plant. None of this bloody art nowadays.
Yeah, it's all graphics. I can't believe where the world's going. Anyway, Chris, quick one. How did you start playing golf?
My granddad and my dad got me into it, just bought me a plastic set, whacked the ball around the garden a couple of times, and that was it.
How old were you?
Probably about 5 or 6.
5 or 6, so you've bloody been doing this for a while.
I have indeed, yeah.
Been ball striking for over a decade.
Lovely
Best get some reward out of it.
Yeah, well,
this is it, Chris.
you're in that place now. Is it like?
But anyway,
Obviously, you're at college out there now. What's it like in terms of like the parties and stuff like that? Is it as wild as it's depicted on films?
oh, it's non-existent.
Is it?
No, you'll get you can't drink till you're 21, so you get MIPs, MICs, minors in consumption and possession.
So the
£1,000 fines.
at your university, do you have like beta houses and frat houses and all that sort of stuff?
No.
Really? So it's sort
You
of all
only get
fake,
them.
that sort of film stuff.
Well, it's not fake, but you only really get them at like the state colleges and the universities.
Have you been on any road trips while you've been out there, Chris?
Oh, plenty.
Where have you been?
Into Nebraska, Texas,
Texas.
Oklahoma. Yeah, Texas.
How rough's Texas?
It's not actually that bad. It's nowhere near as bad as people make it out to be.
Is it not?
No, it's a good mooch, to be
Are they
fair.
all married to the cousins, or are they just normal people?
James, that's Alabama, James.
We're going into Deontay Wilder territory.
Yeah, Chris, by the way,
Go on.
my lovely pick for the Masters is, of course, Jordan Spieth. Nobody plays Augusta quite like Jordan. However, go on.
I was just saying agree with that statement.
He's fantastic at Augusta. I bloody love watching him. Other than when he's going in the water, you know.
Water on 12.
But Dirty Dan Willett, who was able to...
Oh, Jesus.
Successful, yeah.
I remember having an argument with Graham Aitchison about that in PE. It took up half an hour to less.
What did Graham have to say?
I was just telling him how Danny Willett didn't win the Masters, Spieth lost it, and that kicks off a huge argument.
Yeah, of course. Mr. Aitchison is a huge patriot. I'm not talking NFL. He loves his British boxers. But my each-way pick is either John Rahm, he's a really good player,
Lovely shout.
or Mark Leishman. He's always at a nice price, and he's always in the fray. 40 to
Ooh.
1. Henrik Stensson's down there, actually, at 33s. Ridiculous.
Henrik Stenson's in form.
He is, isn't he?
Tell you who I go
3
with.
to 1.
I'll tell you who I go with, outsider, every year, Angel Cabrera.
Yes. Yes.
Every year.
Always in the fray, isn't he? Remember that playoff a couple of years ago?
Indeed.
He won it as well.
Adam Scott.
What's that?
Yeah, he's in the playoff with Adam Scott in 2013. Simply superb.
Yeah.
Fancy him to win.
I was emotional when Scott won that because I really sort of became emotionally attached to the middle-aged man from Argentina.
You became overly attached to a middle-aged man from Argentina.
Yeah, I've been snorting some powder, hasn't he?
The Colombian marching powder.
Indeed.
Anyway,
I'm just hoping. Well,
yeah, sorry, go on. Say what you were going to say then.
I was going to say, I'm just hoping for a DJ and Tiger Woods pairing because the amount of Colombian snorting juice there will be unbelievable.
Oh, Jesus, Kurt Cobain style. But anyway.
Imagine the affairs going on there.
Oh, there'll be a lot of affairs. A lot of middle-aged men out there.
There'll be a lot of
By the
toilet
way,
trips, put it that way.
And for Chris's each-way punt, it's 400 to 1.
Yeah, so you've had to take the advice from an elite golfer rather than two people that don't really know what they're talking about. Back, Chris. Anyway, Chris.
You know that Johnny Vegas is at 300?
Johnny Vegas is played in the fucking golf.
Jonathan Vegas, 300 to 1, Chris.
He'll be drinking
He is from Colombia. Never trust a Colombian.
Absolutely. Radamel Falcao's not one you'd like to listen to.
No, definitely not.
My brother's actually living in Colombia at the moment. That's an interesting fact for you.
Yeah.
My brother Chris. Not you, Chris, obviously. But
Hopefully.
Yeah. Teaching English out there. I don't, as far as I'm aware, he's not involved in the drug cartel. Anyway, Chris, hopefully you can give me a bit more information on this. I know there's been a lot of controversy surrounding Tiger Woods' throughout his career. Can you tell me exactly what happened in regards to his affair and all that sort of stuff?
Well, I can to a point from the knowledge I know and what's been released. He was basically just...
We're not in the rooms. We're not in the dirty bed sits.
Chris was at the Hilton Hotel window peering in.
Hey, gentlemen, I was filming it.
I knew you were getting something out of Kansas. But anyway, yeah. Tell us about this affair.
effectively what happened was Woods had a missus, then just started sleeping around him, and Michael Jordan would just fly out to Vegas, shag hookers. I think the official number is 59.
59, not 69. But anyway.
No, I think Tiger stopped at 50.
Are there any, Chris?
What did you say? The Moors? No, there's no Moors here.
Was there any domestic violence involved in that Tiger Woods thing?
Absolutely none, apart from when his ex chased him out of the house with a baseball bat, which caused him to crash his car.
You know the sort of what's the golf game? Is it PGA Tour?
PGA Tour, yeah.
You know, South Park did a sort of spoof episode of that a while back, where they had the game rather than actual golf was just you hunting down Tiger Woods' wife hunting down Tiger with a baseball bat through various locations. Would you have bought into that game?
I'd have been a huge fan of that game.
Absolutely.
Just a shame that Tiger Woods is the GOAT.
He's the GOAT. But his missus swings a bat quite well, I've heard. Anyway, moving on, we've got a massive UFC event this weekend. UFC 223, I struggle with this name. Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Tony Ferguson. Great fight for the UFC Interim Lightweight Championship. Khabib, of course, an extremely good grappler. If he gets a hold of you, you are not getting up.
Like Tiger's missus.
However, oh Jesus, yeah, I can imagine he'd be able to hold Tiger Woods' missus down relatively comfortably, as he would anyone else on the planet. Anyway, Tony, of course, fantastic on his back. So Khabib's biggest strength could work to Tony's advantage if he can find a submission. Of course, Eddie Bravo will have cooked him up an excellent game plan for when he ends up on his back, which he inevitably will. Anyway, the winner of that fight is likely to take on Conor McGregor in a super fight later in the year. What's your view on Conor, Chris?
I can't say I'm interested in the UFC, to be honest, but I think he's a great staple for Irish sport and quite a decent role model.
Yeah. Him and Aidan McGeady being two of the greats.
What a player McGeady is. I mean, Christ. I had the pleasure of watching all season last season. They played for North End. It was a joy to behold. And now he's wanking off Chris Coleman on the Sunderland bench.
Yeah, to be fair, after Graham Norton and Ronan Keating, he's probably the third most successful Irishman in the world.
Stephen Gately.
I'd go with that.
Stephen Gately's Irish, yeah, boyzo.
Quite outstanding voice.
An excellent voice.
And long may he rest in peace.
Absolutely.
What a voice.
Anyway, yeah. Moving on, Chris. You're a huge fan of Michael Bisping, aren't you?
Oh, massive fan.
Yeah. Would you be interested in seeing him fight one last time?
I would be massively interested. I'd be there, more to the point.
We've discussed this before about the idea. Well, we debated going on a little road trip down to London earlier this year when we thought he was going to be fighting on that UFC London card.
Agreed.
Anyway, do you have a little story about Michael Bisping? Do your dad used to know him?
I do indeed. He used to work for my father. He used to end up arrested and
arrested. What's
pretty much what? Yeah, that's what my dad was telling me.
Go on, mate.
And, yeah, then he ended up letting him go, and he's the superstar he is today.
And now he's scrapping at octagons. But what job was he doing for your dad, Chris?
I believe he was a bin man.
A bin man? Interesting.
A bin man.
So, Chris, in America, of course, you get this impression that the food's unbelievable. I've been twice, obviously, once with you to New York and the other time to San Diego and LA. I felt the food was good, but a little bit overrated. How are you liking the food out there?
Food, well, it's only strictly Mexican here, pretty much.
Oh, you're in the South, aren't you? Tacos everywhere.
Literally tacos everywhere. Just legless in tacos.
Now, for a man who's in love with his chicken tikka masala, I couldn't imagine being out there without an Indian. Are you struggling, or...?
Oh, I'm struggling hard. In Walmart, they sell garlic naan bread, but no tikka masala paste.
Oh,
absolutely.
I'd be complaining.
What about Dupiaza?
There's no Dupiazas, unfortunately. But when you get... Here's a fun fact. If you go into the Walmart in Dodge City and go and ask them, they go, no English, no English. So that's
no English. Bloody hell, you're getting thrown out of places in Dodge City.
Pretty much, yeah. No English. No one speaks it.
Absolutely outrageous. I'd be livid.
Agreed, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
Just intimidated by blonde golf stars. Right, anyway. What sort... Is there any difference in the sort of fast food out there?
Apart from the fact that you could fucking swim in the McDonald's large cups, then not really, no.
They're big,
Oh,
aren't they?
they're absolutely huge.
Huge, you've gone Donald Trump method.
Huge.
What are the portions like out there, Chris?
Fairly large.
Are they?
Fairly large, yeah.
So in the south where you are, how
He's not in the south.
I thought he was in the
I'm in the middle.
He just says right in the middle.
I know, but I thought he was in the middle of the south, not the deep, deep south.
Alright.
No, right in the middle.
What's the impression of Donald Trump out there?
Where I am, it's a Republican majority, so they're all woo woo, fuck yeah, guns. So they all like him.
We love Trump.
But I like him, to be fair. I think he's a breath of fresh air for politics.
No, I completely agree, Chris. Really hard to disagree with that.
Whereas Hillary has certainly been around the block in more than one way.
Do not be mentioning Hillary over here. You'd be shot within 30 seconds.
Oh, Jesus.
I did not have sex with that woman.
So anyway, there's a bloody massive event happening out in the States this weekend. Is it in New Orleans, Adam? Wrestlemania?
I think so, yeah.
I think it is New Orleans. How close is that to you, Chris? Could you make that?
No, it's about a 12-hour trip.
Oh, Jesus.
Right? It's a roll, Chris. Ever WrestleMania?
Road trip
to 12 hours away, pal. You don't know you're born, Chris. Bloody hellfire.
So anyway, we were speaking a bit before the show, Chris, and you told me Chris Benoit is your favourite wrestler. Is that correct?
Here we go.
Don't say.
All I want to say is, did Chris Benoit do it?
I think we all know the answer to that, James, but I believe you're a big conspiracy theorist, so...
Well, I do love a conspiracy theorist. Chris Benoit, about 10 years ago now, was rumoured to have killed his wife. Rumoured, I'm going to go on to that. Well, he killed him. Well, he's dead himself now, but he was said to have killed his wife and kids. However, how could Chris have done this when texts were being sent off his phone after the what do you call the people who review bodies? Help me. The word's not coming to me.
Oh, what is the word?
Right, the people who do the autopsy, they said he was dead.
Forensic scientist.
The forensic scientist said he was dead before texts were sent from his phone. I'll tell you what, Chris, a few weeks in advance was saying that he was seeing people following him, etc., etc. And then he had a call with Chavo Guerrero. And Chavo, this was on the night, and Chavo could hear a scuffle at the door, and Chris being taken down.
Cripple crossface?
Probably not via cripple crossface, but they could hear Chris being taken down. So
flying headbutt.
I think it's sort of up for debate whether Chris did it or not. You're a big believer that Chris is guilty, aren't you?
I'm a very big believer.
So moving on. Is there any sort of...
what? He's guilty, that's a fact. But anyway, let's move on.
Innocent. But anyway,
quite offensive.
WrestleMania, big this weekend. Any wrestlers who you like, Chris, any of your favourites? You're often compared to Brock Lesnar.
Oh, huge comparison to Brock Lesnar. We do take the same substances, just to let everyone know.
Yeah, both an anabolic steroid, you cheat.
Clenbuterol.
And also, if anybody from the golfing world is listening to this, Chris probably isn't on performance-enhancing drugs. Anyway, yeah. Any wrestlers you like, Chris?
Not really, no. Big fan of Lesnar.
Enjoy John Cena?
Well, you can't see him, so there's nothing to enjoy.
Oh, there we go. But anyway,
that's why he's on the show.
We bring in Chris for this very reason. But anyway, he's involved in a film, I think, coming up, Chris. Cock Blockers. Have you seen that advertised on British TV?
No, I haven't.
I've seen it constantly.
British TV, unfortunately.
I know, it's an American film, but it's constantly on TV, the advert. No, it's Defo Cena. Yeah, I'll probably go watch John Cena. Relatively good actor. I enjoyed his cameo in Daddy's Home. It is Daddy's Home, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so got a big weekend coming up. Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. I don't know how many dirty takes Roman Reigns has of Stephanie McMahon to keep blackmailing her to putting him in these main events. Nobody's interested in Roman Reigns. I think everybody agrees with that. Yeah. Styles versus Nakamura. Another one of them title fights on the card. Who's your pick there, Salisbury?
Has to be Nakamura. He's great entertainment.
Alright. The Miz versus Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor for the Intercontinental Championship. Go on, The Miz.
Miz, end of.
Now, triple threat for the USA Championship. Orton versus Bobby Roode versus Jinder Mahal. The fact that Randy Orton is anywhere near the USA title really winds me up. He's one of the elite in the game. A master of the RKO. Are you a fan of Randy Orton, Chris?
Used to be a big fan, but I can't say I've watched wrestling since I was about 15, so I don't know what's going on.
A big believer in the out of nowhere RKO.
As far as I'm concerned, we can't look past Jinder Mahal. He's one of the best talents in
Indian wrestling.
In wrestling entertainment. He's outstanding. Come on, Jinder.
Yeah, Jinder Mahal and Shaylan Naik being the standouts from Indian wrestling. Next up, Alexa Bliss versus Nia Jax for the Women's Raw Championship. Alexa Bliss probably being one of the best looking women in wrestling. Nia Jax being one of the biggest women in wrestling. It's a brilliant contrast.
Enough on a plate. Hey!
You disgust me. But anyway, it's a brilliant contrast to styles. I favour Alexa. Anyway, Charlotte Flair versus Asuka. Asuka. Sorry. Another Asian superstar. I probably favour the Queen in this match. So, do you, Adam?
Absolutely. The greatest women's wrestler since Trish Stratus.
Anyway, what do you make of this old Ronda Rousey going into WWE, Chris?
I didn't know it happened. I heard it on your podcast, but I didn't believe it.
Yeah, she's been fucking putting Triple H through tables.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's when you know it's fake.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Triple H should be pedigreeing her through the bloody ring if he had his way. So anyway, Ronda Rousey's in a tag team matchup herself and Kurt Angle versus Stephanie McMahon versus Triple H. If there's any justice in the world, Stephanie and Triple H's pedigree will be far too much for Kurt and his less experienced partner.
I don't know, you know.
I think
Kurt Angle is an Olympic champion in wrestling.
He is, but how many times has Triple H had that bloody thing around his waist? And more so, I'm not complaining about Kurt Angle. I'm aiming that hear me out. I'm saying that his tag team partner is terrible.
Yeah, okay, but Kurt Angle's a very able fighter.
As far as I'm concerned, this is a 2-on-1 match.
Right.
But it's
one's female on the other two.
Yeah, but Stephanie McMahon's elite. Stephanie McMahon's a level or two above Ronda Rousey.
So Kurt Angle will snap her ankle, no problem.
He would, but the men aren't going to be fighting the women. It's going to be men versus men, women versus women. Yeah. Anyway, then it's Braun Strowman. Oh, is it? Oh, Daniel Bryan makes his return alongside Shane McMahon versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon probably a bit too much pedigree for these two.
Yeah, you should imagine so, but I do like Kevin Owens, so I don't care who wins.
Lastly, this isn't confirmed, and Chris, you can get involved in this because these are two megastars. John Cena versus The Undertaker, not yet confirmed, but how would you see that one going?
The only way I see it possible, The Undertaker, clear victory.
Couldn't agree more, Chris. Has to be. Mr. WrestleMania.
Two of the greatest of all time doing battle there. Two of my favourite wrestlers. There's not something really special about The Undertaker's music. When you hear that and everyone's looking around thinking, oh my god, The Undertaker's here. There's something really special about it and I really love it. It's going to be great to see The Undertaker back, if he does take the challenge. Anyway, Adam, have you got anything to add to this podcast? We're sort of towards the end now.
Yeah, we have come to the end, effectively. No, not really.
Chris, anything to add? Any golf news? Any funny USA stories or anything?
We have actually.
Not really.
Come on, Ian Poulter. He's in the playoff, I think.
I'm just watching him now. His opponent's just thinned one into the water. Poulter's got 3 putts for the win from about 25 feet. So big up Ian Poulter.
He's absolutely fantastic. He seems to turn it on when he really needs it. Poulter needs to win to go to Augusta. I bloody love Ian Poulter. He's classy Ryder Cups.
Especially, I agree.
He's a really nice man. I really
like
Ian.
But his old putter back in the bag and suddenly turned it on. So all credit to Ian Poulter.
What did you make of this bee sting that occurred between what's his name? Quinton de Kock got stung by a bee. What do you make of this?
Oh yeah, have you seen this, Chris?
I haven't seen it. No, what happened? I'll probably find it on Twitter.
Yeah, basically, Quinton de Kock's behind the stumps, obviously, and Mitch Marsh comes storming down the wicket, misses the ball, and the cock misses the stumping because he just got stung by a bee. So
Jesus.
he leaves the ball. Utter chaos.
Yeah, the bee's done a job on him here. He needs to work on evasive movement like Tyson Fury did in Dusseldorf when he was fending off wasps.
Yeah, but the bee was already on his arm.
Oh, so the bee had like attached.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds brutal. I'm not a fan of wasps.
Yeah,
Just a shame Quinton de Kock didn't have any sandpaper on his arm.
Chris,
a bit of Australian. Anyway, Chris, it's been an honour to have you on, buddy. I've thoroughly enjoyed this podcast.
Been a pleasure to be here, gentlemen.
When's the next golfing tournament?
Next week. We've got one next week.
After the Masters.
Oh, there's one the week after the Masters.
No, I mean, we're talking about major ones.
I'm talking huge.
Oh, the majors. Oh, I do apologise. US Open in June.
Right, we'd love to have you back on again in June, Chris.
I'll be back, so there'll be no technical difficulties. And for anybody that doesn't know, it took us about half an hour to get this set up.
I told Chris to be ready at 8:30 British time, right? We started recording this at 11. They were the technical issues we were experiencing. Absolute nightmare putting this podcast together. Joe Rogan makes it look so bloody easy. But anyway, yeah. Commonwealth Games coming up this week. Are you looking forward to that?
No.
No, not whatsoever. Chris?
Never heard of it.
Right. So I'm looking forward to the boxing and some of the wrestling. To play us out this week to support the Brits, we've got Jerusalem. Cheers, Chris. Cheers, Adam. I've enjoyed this podcast. Hopefully you have too. We'll see you all next week. Goodbye.
See you later.
See you later, gentlemen.